I would like to introduce the people who don't know who you are a little bit about your background. I know that you grew up in the sciences, but then you became a nuclear physicist. And could you tell us a little bit about that and kind of how your journey led you to plasma physics?
I was born in Tehran, in the beautiful city of Tehran. I had an opportunity at a very young age. I was talking to my father this morning or this afternoon a couple of times. He's in his late 80s now, or mid 80s. He introduced me as part of the X-ray team or medical equipment team of the Philips and Siemens in Iran, some 50 years ago, more or less, to magic rays we could not see, but they used to do a lot of things. And that was a point where I started thinking I'm working around radiation. I used to fiddle with all sorts of things which he used to bring home. I have burned a few systems and I've seen him blowing up. You can't damage systems like this. And I played with X-ray tubes and X-ray machines from age of 8, 9, being a first son. So a lot of questions was raised in the childhood. How come this thing goes through me and I gets my bone, but he can't catch me or I can't catch him? And this grew up by age of 15, 16. I moved to UK, and when I was a very young boy, 12, 13, 14 years old, when somebody wanted to say, I'm going to become a nuclear physicist, they used to laugh at me. But it took a time. I became a graduate from Queen Mary College as a nuclear engineer, but I was, again, specialized from very early months in the university in the direction of design and control of nuclear reactors. And it was something, elite job teaching in those days. And I immediately, being so not the theoretical engineer, but more or less practical engineer amongst my, the school or university team, out of we were about 13 people in the classroom altogether. Those days they used to teach very few people in nuclear physics in England. I became streamlined to the design of nuclear reactors and control of the nuclear reactors. I was trained that way by the British scientists or university scientists. And in that process, I realized there's a lot of mistake in the whole of nuclear industry. And I worked for a short time with nuclear atomic energy structure at the highest level in England, unknowingly, but because we were very few, so at the beginning they took us right to the top end. And so I saw what I didn't want to see, what I didn't want to hear in so many ways. I got access to top secret documents of the British government within the nuclear industry, and I walked away. I walked away from nuclear industry because at the same time, not only that, a lot of questions by my professors could not be answered. I was seen as an outsider.
Wow.
Because a lot of things did not make sense. A lot of things did not make sense.
Very good.
Not really. It's just when you're young, you're very ambitious. That's we used to be hippies and everything else. They expected very smart dressed. Those times you were supposed to be elite, well-dressed, nuclear people. You should be outstanding. You become the cream of the society. And I was a hippie and turned up with hippie hairs and jeans, and these were not acceptable.
So how did you stumble into plasma and begin so amazing science?
I could see, I remember age of 10, 12, that the operation of the space technology is wrong. To me, it didn't make sense. The way we used to use rocket technology was out of line in respect to the work of the universe I could see. I remember lying down on the roof waiting to see the man landing on the moon and understanding there was something missing between the two because there was something not correct in approach to, or if you wanted to travel like, galaxy of things like planets, how we launch, how we are limited. This quest carried on with me into my 20s, and I remember being in a college before I go to university. I used to explain to my friends the structure of UFOs has a meaning, but we don't understand it. There has to be like this. By early 1980s, I saw the structure into the mistakes of the space technology and say the way we don't see gravity, we are flying against it. I started designing, because I was trained as a nuclear physicist, I started designing nuclear reactors which go fly. I have a letter dated 14th of June 1985 from NASA when I submitted the first prototype of nuclear reactor flying machines. I remember the date because it's the date of my mother's birthday. So when it came, it was shocking to me. And I still have it. It's in our what do you call it, archive somewhere. I've seen it a couple of years ago back when we were moving. So this was not something which came over a day or so. It was a growth, a development. And then in 1980s, I moved into industry. I couldn't stand the nuclear industry. I moved into private business, which gave me more time to develop what I wanted to do. It was just, it was a quest for understanding the operation of the gravity, and at the same time building a business empire. The technology was a mistress on the back of real life. I have documents and pages. I've written papers and all sorts. And I could see where the problem is, but I could not connect the connection between the two, how nuclear could come into the play. In around 2000, early 2000, I one day I saw exactly where the problem was and where the gravity was. And I remember my wife sitting in front of me. I just sat in one corner and I broke into tears. I said, I discovered it. I know where man hasn't found out where gravity is. So,
wow.
No, it's just the way it happened. And
yep. It's like getting those aha moments when it all just becomes clear.
No, it was an aha. I could see the gravitational field. I could see the magnetical field. It was
nice.
how in a system like Earth, it was getting connected to each other.
Nice.
Gravity to us is what is holding us to the planet. Magnetical field is what is creating the shield to protect what is holding on to. And it became very clear. And from that day, I did not go to work, more or less. I packed all my business. I just literally gave my business away. I never turned up in businesses. And I said to people who were running my businesses, you can do whatever you like. If you've been with me some 15, 20 years and you don't know how to run, it's your problem. And literally from then on, I started spending most of my time in research of it. And by about 2003, 2004, we were fully equipped to develop things, to write things, and to expose the knowledge in a very different way. So I went back to British Nuclear Fuel, where I used to work. I said, I need some nuclear materials. Can you provide me some alpha radiation and things I need to prove the reactor works? And we left without any fuel. And then I got into, we were discussing it this afternoon with Caroline Nutego, with a lawyer, lady who was sitting across the table with us. In submitting the first request for nuclear material, alpha radiation sources, we walked into a huge military trap without knowing at that time. And I am the only one. We have the papers here in the archive. I signed a non-disclosure agreement with the Minister of Energy of United Kingdom, not the ministry. It was signed on behalf of the minister. The council saw such a high level. And then we got trapped by the Belgian structure. We got pulled into Belgium and held there. And then a guy who they introduced us to be the closest guy who could do our pattern then became the biggest threat to us without knowing. He was implanted by the Belgian government. Our car got blown up We got more or less shot at and rolled over on the motorway.
Mm.
Poison, they came to house to shoot us. This was organized by him. Everybody knows we call him the Red Circle, but he pretended to be a close friend.
Well, and we look at, the threat to the old world and the old system when we bring forth free energy, right? Because this begins setting in motion the potential for a free, abundant humanity.
No, it wasn't. The whole thing was a space to start with.
It was about the space program.
Energy is irrelevant. Energy is a by. I mean, a lot of people would like to have this free energy, and now last week on the teaching of the Keshe Foundation, Knowledge Seekers, we opened a book of free energy. Now people can make free energy system, hopefully. And my idea was, once I discovered the origin of the structure of the working of the planetary system, then it was the same for solar system, then it was the same for galaxies and universe, and then it was a plasma. Plasma had to work on the same basis. This created a lot of evolution and revolution. A lot of people, if you go back since we start pushing ahead, with all sorts of left without fuel, because I've been in communication, very close communication, and American been sitting on every single paper within my computers, spying on everything. They realized that I have developed a true energy system for space. NASA has canceled most of their space program rocket propulsion on the back of what I've released to them. NASA is fully aware of my work. And then, strange enough, they knew somehow the Iranian securities and government are sitting on top of my computer. So a number of people, while me being an innocent scientist, were sitting on my computer, seeing what I write, the things, because I'm on the computer and everything else, and seeing me writing the structures and all sorts. They're all competing in a way to see how they could attract or interact somewhere.
And would you say you were in the midst of kind of changing the way we look at science, the way we look at how our world operates?
We are not in the midst. We are not in the midst. We are the frontiers of it. There is no doubt.
Beautiful.
A lot of people had talk about things, but if you look at it, a lot of scientists have been pushed into corners or been killed or whatever.
Right.
A lot of scientists use their names to gain financial interest, strong in a position. Look at the Bill Gates. He had nothing. It's just finding a way to write a program made himself a billionaire. Our technology have been told one of the most, what do you call it? It was trillions. There is not enough money in the bank to pay for it. The interest wasn't money, but we have changed a lot of things in the course of life, humanity. With us, the patents are finished because we submitted such a huge broad patent, which is delivered to more or less all the governments and internationally. Nobody can patent anything on back of the Keshe Foundation patents.
Oh, that is so exciting. So you patented them so nobody else could patent on top of them.
There is a procedure. I am against patenting.
Nice. I agree.
The guy who is now thinks is our biggest enemy, the guy who's got paid to kill me, more or less, for giving information to the authorities in Belgium how to control me. He and his group from Belgian government insisted my things have to be patented, and I wanted everything to be free. I opposed the patenting. But in them talking to me, they enlightened me that the best way for me to get my knowledge across the world is follow their way. But jump off the train when it suits me. So I went through it. I submitted the European patent. We sat with the European patent scientists. They opened the discussion. They gave me like 20 minutes to refuse, and we ended up with 3.5 hours of meeting in the patent office. And they said, yes, we understand, we discovered the gravity, but the way you've seen this pattern is not good enough. It's not well protected. So they told us how to rewrite it. Be written again.
Nice. So really, we're in this bridging time, and so kind of having one foot in each world is kind of helping build the stepping stones to get us the next step.
We are not in a bridging time. We are in
Mm,
a time of adding to the knowledge of humanity.
beautiful.
There is a bridging time. I mean, we can't say that there was nothing and then it was, let's say, Tesla. Tesla built his knowledge from the past scientists. We done the same, but we added huge amounts in the new direction.
Nice.
And that new direction is making sense to a lot of people. A lot of
Yes.
scientists,
Yeah.
a lot of scientists oppose Keshe Foundation, or they're attaching themselves to Keshe Foundation to get notoriety. And we see this with a lot of people who accuse of us everything. They come just to accuse that they can get notice to confirm their existence. They bring nothing on board.
Right.
Then we've seen this, a lot of people know, I've spoken before in my talks that the most famous plasma physicist with American news as a senior consultant to everything, and he holds a number of patents in the what do you call it, that is used in CERN.
Oh, right.
American intelligence sent this guy to our place. I sat with him 2 or 3 hours. I took him through a simple lab. I explained to him, he understood that his patents are out of date. He's Italian. He's a well-known Italian physicist in plasma. He took me to the garden and says, Mr. Keshe, I cannot report to Americans because unless you change the name of the plasma. I said, what do you mean? He said, if the name of your work, the plasma, the way you describe it to something else, that my patent holds. Otherwise, I have to refuse you because you discovered. His name is well known as an Italian scientist. We challenged him, and he reported the same to the American people. And I think in the long run, they realized last year that the guy has done it. He's actually got paid and then run with it to cover his own patents.
So is that why you call it Magrav, or do you call it plasma technology?
It is a plasma technology. Every
Right.
plasma, the sun, like the earth,
Right.
it's 2 ways. It has a magnetical. Magrav is gravitational magnetical. Gravitational is what the fields pull to each other. Magnetical is what fields reject each other. When you have two magnets, when you face to face them in the right way, they attract each other, gravitate to each other. And when you face them the other way, they repel. And that repulsion we don't see, that actually creates an atmosphere around two magnets. That's a magnetical repulsion. So magnetic gravitational has made the word Magrav. A plasma is a house of fields. So it's nothing to do with each other, but the interaction of the fields gives you the magnetical and gravitational. And then when you created the effect of gravitational, what is created the repulsion and what it creates the attraction, because attraction is closer and stronger, creates the mass. For the first time, we can explain the mass. I explained how. So now we know how mass is created. And then when you have the mass of one element interacting with the mass of another element, which is gravitational magnetical of one, with gravitational magnetical of the other one, we have the weight. So now we understand the full process, and it's very easy to work with. So in so many ways, but if we have a wrong conception or understanding of the world of creation, we stick to one thing and we think that's the state it is. But in fact, the state it is temporarily in that state, but itself is part of the bigger picture. It's if you look at the snow, it's a snow, but it melts, becomes the rain, becomes the water, and then if you heat it, it becomes the steam, and then if you freeze it, it becomes ice. All this is still the same entity. So it's the same with the plasma. Plasma of a higher order, bigger mass, makes galaxies, universes. And then it breaks down to the smaller fields of different strength in different environments. We call it the matter. And matter is what to us, at our level, is what we can feel. So tangible to us, we can see it, visible to us. So we don't consider matter any different than anything else, but it's a snapshot of the total spectrum of the gravitational magnetic field of the universe.
Beautiful.
No, but this is how we explain it. If it's very heavy and strong, we call it the principal matter, what we call it was used to be known as a black hole. Because to me, what I call the crookest of the crooks, Stephen Hawking ever wrote, was the black hole. And we have in my second or third book, if you go on page 151, I have accused him of stealing the change of mind and claiming to be his. And the book was published in 2009, 2010, and we have not heard from him yet with all his lawyers and his power. That the black hole is the center of the mass of the universal energy. We call it the principle. And the black holes are the mother feeding of the universe energy, where he claimed black hole is a big eating machine and everything else. And then when we submitted in 2004 for a paper to be published to show that the interaction of plasmas like two sun creates bigger mass, and then in that interaction some fields and radiation are radiated out, we can see it. Immediately he announced he's changed his mind that the black holes do leak, and he went to Ireland and came up with a lot of rubbish with it. But if you read my book on page 151, where it says the creation of black hole, the original black holes, I explained how he works. He has no intelligence. He's the most crooked scientist known to man.
Mr. Keshe, let me jump in and just share with people your books. I found your books this morning in the About section of your website, the Keshe Foundation. And they're called The Universal Order of Creation of Matters, The Structure of the Light, and the Origin of the Universe. They're really fascinating. I'd encourage people interested in this kind of science to download them.
Yeah, if you download is stealing. Whatever download is on the website, internet is stolen pages, stolen books.
It's stolen?
Yeah, we don't have. It was done again when they tried to kill us. They didn't succeed.
Okay.
They tried to shut us, organized by the same man, Red Circle. When we moved from Belgium to Italy, and then we start actively developing the technology and promoting the technology, then he went on a rampage because he did some of the pictures in the, what they call it, all the pictures in the books. He decided to put the books on the internet against everybody's wish. It used to be sold as a donation. So he went everywhere and put the books downloading. So it's a stolen book. If you're a thief, you steal. If you don't,
okay. So how would you suggest people get it if they want to read it?
You go to the Keshe Foundation. You can buy a hard copy.
Okay.
And we try to put, the book is translated in a number of languages. So soon we put the sale of each book accordingly around the world, according to
really interesting.
It's translated to Spanish, the book one, Italian, German, Chinese, Dutch, Portuguese, and God knows French, and a number of other languages.
Nice.
But in the coming time, now that we open the free teaching worldwide by donation, they will be released very soon.
So you've done an amazing thing to open the Keshe Foundation to this worldwide teaching. And I know I've been listening to the Knowledge Seekers workshops, which anybody can, that have been going on I know they've been going on the last few years, but since you released the blueprints, that's been a few months. And anyone can listen to those, and sitting in on them is just amazing. It's like being in a classroom with you and other students from around the world. So it's very exciting and fascinating. And I guess, whatever you'd like to share with us about that. I just really honor how you encourage your students to try different things, to bring them forward. And it's really an open source, open sharing environment. And it's really beautiful how you've done it.
No, the way we did it was actually this Thursday was the 100th teaching, Knowledge Seeker. We haven't missed a week. Summer, Christmas, New Year, winter, holidays, we kept on going every Thursday, 9 o'clock Central European time, till whenever we finish, 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. We not only start teaching, but we start bringing the people who listen to teaching and made something from it to come and teach us.
Yes.
So it's become interactive worldwide teaching. So
Yes.
we have who our followers run in tens of millions around the world. It's not a few. And they are from every path of life. We have, as you heard, I don't know, just before we start the conversation, one of the members of the House of Lords, Lord Stewart, has joined the foundation to promote it. Is one of the listeners, and his wife has been apparently the listeners of the foundation for a long time.
Nice.
We have a number of world leaders who are, what they call it, avid listeners. They come online, they listen, and then we see in their works how they work as to support us in the backgrounds for different things. The people don't understand I speak a language and I get what I want in the background for development from the governments because the leaders listen, they see that they're through it. Then the teachings, then we started the institute 2 years ago. This week, our first two graduates finished 2 years of course of what they call a full-time teaching. And now they stand high positions directly in the foundation. Then we started a second course of second year of teaching last year in South of Italy as a part of a university, Lund University. And then we started the term in September of last year to add to it. And we start more or less our fourth year students, or first cycle students, this January the 18th. And we had the students in the classroom, and I don't agree with it because what I saw was a lot of pain and suffering and worries, parents being away from their children and people being away from their families coming across the world just to learn. And after the first term, I said to my wife, I'm going to stop this. We go to the point that everybody can sit. They want to study. They can study at home, attend the course live in the classroom without the pain of awareness. And we more or less have achieved this. With this term, we did not accept or did not have anybody in the January session in the classroom, but we have hundreds of students around the world.
Very nice.
So they are there. Every time I teach, I only teach now. I used to teach every day. Now I teach only Wednesdays to different classes. And then I see a lot of pleasure because people are home, but they're always there. Every week they go through all the teachings. We monitor all the dates they attended, what they attended, because they have to attend to finish the course. So we achieved the first part. And the second part of this teaching was um, first of all, being able not only to teach in English, now we have a huge support. We have enough teachers in different languages to teach that it doesn't become exclusive for English. So now this March, in 2 or 3 weeks time, we add maybe 5 to 10 languages teaching, where the people, like I say, Spanish speaking, organize the teaching exactly 9 to 5 the way we do it in Central European time. And then anybody who wants to learn will join in as a student in this structure. We have the same with Italy. In Italy now we have a center, so the teaching will be done from the center. We have our own conference center in Italy. So now from March the 1st, we should add, I don't know, 5, 6, 10, depends what the team brings in. People who can organize a number of students, teachers, and the students together to teach on regular basis, on daily basis. So I achieved that too. But now the problem was that we made a promise that we make technology accessible to everyone. That was a very big problem. How? Because we had the expenses to cover and to be able to support the structure, and we had to be able to reach everyone we could. So from September of last year or so, we start giving the technology teaching freely access to Africans because I see Africa as the main part needs to be supported if they're not going to be behind the whole technology. And now we have opened 2, maybe up to 4 new centers in coming weeks and months in Africa. We have a full operating center in Nigeria. We have a full operating condition in Ghana. We are seeing now maybe Uganda or Kenya can be added to the structure slowly. South Africa is
Wonderful.
prime position. In Sierra Leone, we have a deep connection within the structure of the government, which we reopened the institute as a university structure in Sierra Leone.
Nice.
It was delayed because of the Ebola condition. And so Africa had the priority for us to teach. And so they get a huge investment from our side. But they have no money to pay. Most of the Africans are the most intelligent people I've known. I worked in Africa a long time in my business life. So it allows me to invest back into where I got a lot of pleasure of working in. And so now we are reinvesting in African nations in teaching. And people are learning how to make simple tools to stop them from malaria killing them. And small energy units that they can at the moment renew every few weeks, and then they have enough energy to have light or whatever, because they're taught that way how to protect their harvest and grow harvest bigger and better. So now we are embedded in the Atomic Energy Authority of Government as a Keshe Foundation inside the university structure. So we teach professors in that structure. This brought us to a point of €1,000 was too much for everyone. Now from 1st of March, we make it to a contribution. If you are very stingy, you donate €100 and get the teachings. But if you want to support that, it's worth the knowledge. We've been told to teach this technology where we are teaching at the US level is about $50,000 a year. We left it open because we teach on the edge of science. We left it open, anybody wants, but minimum is €100 that everybody can be covered, to cover the expense of the foundation and teaching side. And so now from 1st of March, anybody can become a physicist.
Nice.
And there is a problem. The biggest problem is once you get in the kitchen, because you can do everything in the kitchen and you see your own product, you see your own things, you see your own energy unit, you see the things you make, you've seen it, that can release your pain with less than 10, 20 cents. Then you become a teacher, and then you won't move out of the kitchen. We have a lot of men who never been in the kitchen, but now they don't move out of the kitchen. And we have a lot of ladies who will do the same. And so we have become multinational, international organization, and
yes.
we see children becoming students.
Yes,
Children.
Mr. Keshe, let me jump in just a second, because really what you've done is so beautiful, and it is like being part of a big international family, and many people are coming forward and putting this into practice. They're making everything from healing tools to energy units. And just to mention that there are many Facebook pages from different countries where people can go and look for others from their own country. And there really is and it's so much fun to come to these teachings. Every bit that I've been able to attend, I've just thoroughly enjoyed. And part of the greatest joy is the contribution of all the different people from everywhere that are now practicing, learning, becoming experts. I mean, it's really awesome and amazing and wonderful. So thank you for moving all this forward.
You're welcome, but the whole structure is, in a way, for those who understand it or start understanding the plasma technology, we have set the structure for space technology, the energy, the health. As I said, my objective from earlier on was to build space technology, that everything the man needs in the space can be met.
Can you explain, like, just in a simple way that a regular person could understand how this relates to space technology, or what the space technology is?
Space technology. All of it is a space technology.
All of it is space technology.
What you see as an energy unit is like Teflon with the old space program. Teflon was made for space programs, and then it found, because of the evolution, into the everyday life. A lot of things have been developed for space technology, and it's been, as over years, has come into it. And we call our program a spaceship program. We are not a space program. There's a huge difference between a space program and a spaceship program. The space program is limited to rocket technology and the limitation of cargo and all these monkey clothing we have to wear like a spacesuit.
Right.
The spaceship program is the replication of the work of the universe. On Earth, we don't wear a suit to go out to play. We don't wear a suit to go and swim. We don't wear a suit if you're going into a snow with cover ourselves. We don't breathe different things. So, because the Earth creates its own gravitational field which holds on to us, and it creates its own magnetic field to protect us. Now we have built a system replication of the Earth, a replication of any entity in the universe. Secondly, if we look into universal condition, we don't see any rocket fuel and we don't see any jets. We don't see things being tanked. Earth rotates and everything else, as I always say, and it creates its own position, its own speed, its own distance from the other planetary to a different strength of gravitational magnetic field in respect to the other places. So you don't need a motor, you don't need an engine, you don't need to have a weightlessness condition. Because when you create gravitational magnetic field, you're in a gravitational 1G, and you walk and work exactly in the craft as you do on Earth. So we're already going into that direction. The reactors and systems are getting built for that. So spaceship program, when we talk about it, at the moment with the space program, we have to take care of everything of a spaceman. His food, his water, his energy, his waste, everything else. And when one of them runs out, is the limitation, we have to come back. And we engage the man in what I call a sardine box. We call it the space program, and we shoot them at the mercy of God, and we see what happens. In a spaceship program, we don't carry no food. We don't carry no medicine. We don't carry no energy packs. We don't carry no fuel and agriculture. Now, as I explained earlier with you regarding the snow and the water and the others, now we understand the spectrum of the whole magnetic gravitational field. Now we can produce what we need in a space. We don't need to return back.
And we're seeing this in your classes already. We're seeing practically food replication, healing, energy replication. So this is happening.
It's happening because we understood, and a lot of people are understanding the basis of it. So they are developing it. It's an international collaboration of common people with scientists and government outside it, because there's a big problem. Scientists, if they work 20 years to become doctors, now they have to throw their PhDs in the bin. They are not prepared to. So there is something wrong with us, not with the PhD, which they got in the wrong way, with their own knowledge.
I'd like to ask you a quick question that I hope is not dumb. I mean, it's kind of like I have a feeling. I know that there's been talk the last few years that there is no gravity. Have you ever heard that? I mean, some science.
There is an impossibility. If you have fields, a field has to interact to be pulled to somewhere and be repelled by something else. So that is gravity. When you're pulled, if you put any magnet anywhere, any plasma anywhere, because it's magnetic, is a magnetic lines, if you call it. So it's getting pulled to somewhere, otherwise you don't see it, because by moving it shows its existence. So it's getting gravitated to somewhere, or is getting rejected at the same time by where it came itself from. That's why it's going away somewhere. So there is nowhere in the space empty void of fields. I've written a paper called Unifying Field Theory, which I explained that clear in it.
Yes, thank you for just even explaining that. That simple explanation is really helpful.
So we are in our position. So Keshe Foundation is a spaceship program where with certain fields, we create a structure of the craft. We don't need huge hangars to like a Boeing to produce aircraft to space. Because in understanding the totality of the creation, interaction of the fields, if you go to the medical part of our teaching, months ago, we've been through it and we explained that the easiest way understood by people is that your skin has 3 layers. Just we call it 3 layers because it's there. But if you go into the essence of the reality of your skin, your 3 layers create the mirage of your skin. Your skin is created out of the interaction of 3 fields by plasma.
Mm.
And in fact, it has no essence. If I can produce a field strength which is equal to your skin strength, I can put my hand inside you. I can lose my hand inside you without you feeling it. And we've shown this in the past few weeks by a number of people who their fingers and their hands have disappeared
Yes,
or
I've been seeing those. Those are exciting.
so this is how it is, because the field environment, the strength is equal to human body, because the machines they make is made of the amino acid of the body of the man and the environment which the man was created out of. So they become imbalanced and you don't see. There is no magic. We can explain it scientifically. And this is what we said years ago. American Secret Service and the Chinese and the Russian secrets have been hovering around us, hovering everything we could put out, how we create these fields. Now, I thought in the past few weeks, past few months, and it's opening a lot. And as you know, we were instrumental in the peace talk between Iran and the United States. And in that meeting with the Americans high level in Brussels, where I put the hand of peace from Iran to the American authorities, and we saw the fruit of it, as we said, the end of the peace which has come between the two nations and the EU withdrawing all the sanctions, it started from this technology. And we announced it when it happened. And in that meeting, I explained to the American officials from the highest level, as you know, in the council ambassador level, that they asked me, can you explain to us how you captured the drone, the biggest American spy, which had 8 satellites locked into it and got a full destruction, what do you call it, system inside it, self-destruction. And I explained it on the back of a tissue paper on the table in a napkin in the restaurant where we had a meeting. And I said, we cross your country many times a day. You don't have the knowledge, so you can say we don't have it because you're ignorant to the knowledge. This technology now is in the market of space technology for nearly 8, 9 years now. Flights which you can't see because you don't have the equipment to develop it. And now we're teaching it. People see the domes across the houses which carry these systems, huge domes, field domes. When the Americans came to our place, they could hear the difference of the shielding. One, you don't hear, the other foot is clear noise of the environment. We use these things. Now I'm teaching it. So it's not strange when you understand the science of it. It's just that we couldn't connect the lines together, but all the dots are there.
So, Mr. Keshe, you know what? That we are entering a fantastic new age. I mean, a new way, really, of perceiving our science, our reality, and it's so exciting. And I want to thank you for bringing forward everything that you have, for having the passion about it that you do, and I know being in your classes, which is available to anyone, anywhere, and there are literally people from China, from Africa, from every country in the world, every continent, who are participating in this. So I'd like to encourage anybody who's got even a little bit of interest to look into learning more. And as we said when we started this conversation, we could probably go on for hours and hours and hours, so we might have to talk again sometime. But I'd love for you to, I know you have a gathering coming up in Dubai, and that you're having a big conference. And I know that there's some videos coming out on that pretty soon, but if you could give us a sneak preview of what's going to be happening in Dubai, we'd love to hear about it. And I think there's probably people in the listening audience who might even figure out how to get a ticket and come over there and join you.
First of all, you have to understand why we organize this.
Yes.
Part of our work is not just teaching. We run conferences for ambassadors called, the last one called Energy in Exchange for Peace. We've been frontier in knowledge transfer for changing a man not to need things that he becomes independent of what we call governments and the conditions in the environment. There are no governments in this space. But if you're in this space on your own and the last man standing, you should know how to save yourself. You don't wait till die. So part of the space technology is how we show you the health system, the food system. Now you can live without any food as you plant it from the ground and survive for years with it. And so now that we have brought a new structure without governments that they need, as in a space we don't have governments, We have set out to introduce man into the space community or universal community. And on 21st, 22nd of April, people from around the world gather in Dubai. We have chosen the most beautiful site and the beautiful name, which is called Atlantis Hotel. Atlantis is the lost city, and man in a space is a lost race, the way it's gone. So it is appropriate to bring everything together. We found the city of peace, what we call Dubai, the city of peace. And in this conference in the morning, you can see the latest systems. You can learn its interaction between different people, new generation of space scientists, not the way the PhDs, which worth nothing. You had to spend all your life on it and pay a lot of people, right? And then from afternoon of the 21st, we start explaining the new structure of universal government, which means we won't elect people. It'll be a shock to people how the council will stand for itself. The new council is the interface between man and the space community, where we cannot, every one of us, and get bribed by each one king or one president to do this from a space to the other. As we share the knowledge totally free amongst each other, then we stand as one race, one nation, one planet, to negotiate or to enter the universal community as one group. So we choose not by borders, but by languages. Because now if you're a Chinese, you're all over the world. You're not a Chinese from China, you're American Chinese, you're third generation Chinese in America. You have no connection with China, but you're still Chinese. So this way, we are done with the borders. Borders is a man-made. Now the nations become language, because this is the way we understand each other, we can communicate with each other. So we choose our council by language speaking. If you're a Chinese, it does not matter, you don't speak English. But if you reach the level of the sort of understanding the humanity in the space, you can still become a member of the council.
So you're talking about putting together, it's interesting because I developed an idea a couple of years ago with an organization I founded called Global Leadership for Change, called a Global Council. And it'd be fun to send it to you. I'm excited to hear what you're, so you're going to be putting together a council in Dubai of
Yes.
people that would like to move this forward from around the world.
Yes, but don't forget we have a huge supporter base. It's not done by hope and wish. And we have asked all our support. We have like 4 or 5 teaching centers in China built by the Chinese Keshe Foundation. In China, we are ranking on top, very, very top level of internet counts. They took us off the radar on 25th of October. We are so high that even government doesn't want to know an outside organization, which is Chinese inside where we sit.
Wow.
You can check it. We stand very, very high. Don't forget there are hundreds of thousands, millions of websites in China. And for a foreign-based research organization to become on the top, the government is keeping an eye on our developments, and they receive a lot of support from Chinese in different way. So we are establishing a government which is based on the language of the mother language spoken, and that is just because we can communicate with each other, that collectively as one race we can communicate with the others outside. And this is important. A lot of people have come up with a lot of these global governments and blah, blah, but they have no tool to deliver. The Keshe Foundation is the only structure, because not only we bring in new technology which enforces the change, we are setting up factories which finances the foundation work to help the others around the world without interference from the governments. So we pay our taxes to local government. I encourage all the Keshe Foundation factories which are coming to operation, you pay your local taxes to the maximum. You pay the best wages to your staff. You don't do to make more profit to put the others on problem. And then what is left, we put back into the society of the foundation, in the society where the foundation works and the factories are. So I have set up an organization. I don't need to go for charity money. We don't need to go to somewhere to dictate to us what we have to do. We research in the way we like, and we don't ask for any donation. If you want to donate, it helps us to do better. But I have set up a self-sufficient vertical organization that it feeds itself, it looks after itself, and it works the way the universe does. So this meeting is to elect a panel, a council, not only to work to bring the ethos of the Keshe Foundation to working of all the governments. In the coming months and years, our way of work will become written in every country handbook of nation running, because there is no other way. There is no other way to do it. So with it, we are done with governments in a way, but the local governments stay in a way to see how they operate in their languages. The council will make a decision for international interaction, and then in understanding with the interaction with the universal community, because just because we couldn't see does not mean they didn't exist. It's just that there is a rule in a space that we do not interact unless the society is ready to interact. And I've taught the humanity enough that we are ready, we have all the equipment to join the universal community. And there are some criterion to join the universal community, but primarily is peace. No culture, no race is allowed to join the human community unless they accept the term of the peace, not just to join, but to be real working in that way. And the peace comes from home. We give you energy, you have a peace of not worrying about hunger, not worrying about where you get your medical support from in a space as you do now. And this allows us to create that community where we are ready to join. In the coming months, we will see the interaction. We've seen a number of close encounters directly in different ways with the human race, and we're going to extend heavily in the coming time. Because we're getting ready, so in a way, we're told, if you do right, you are allowed to come in. You become part of the society of universal community. In that structure, there are no governments. We don't fight for the governments. We are not overthrowing governments. But we are showing to the governments that there should be correct conduct. And then we leave it to the governments to see how we run our affairs, how we establish the way we do. Then there is for them to follow. But because we see such a surge in followers of the Keshe Foundation, we become the governments. We become the decision makers as a council. That is, we don't spend a single penny on arms because we don't need arms. We have everything we need. We can produce gold if we need. We can produce food if we need in a matter of seconds. It's been shown by the Keshe Foundation supporters.
Right. Mr. Keshe, let me just jump in really quick and just explain to people who haven't followed this real carefully thus far, but this is worth following. Number one, with the technology of the Keshe, all this Keshe technology, we have the ability to solve our problems of not enough food, of pollution, changing a lot of these things that are at crisis state on the planet that we've created by living in a non-peaceful, outside of love kind of way. And as we move into to embracing this technology, it's really providing us ways to very quickly clean up, probably in much faster than we've ever imagined. I also would like to ask you, are you looking for people who would like to become part of your council? Is that out there, or do you already?
We are not looking. Come to the meeting. It's a 2 days
meeting.
It's a 3 days meeting, and we have organize it. Even the people somehow, as when you do things right, come the right way.
And that's in Dubai, right? And it's this April. Is that correct?
21st, 22nd of April.
21st, 22nd April.
We have organized with Atlantis Hotel, which is one of the top hotels in the world. It's one of the most exclusive hotels in the world. For a 3-night stay, usually it's about $1,500 to $2,000 per night to stay in these hotels. We have organized a 3-night stay, including 2 breakfasts in the conference for €500.
Wow.
Which is literally nothing.
That's amazing.
And after the 500 seats, it goes to 750. It's the way it's structured with the hotel. The food in the most beautiful restaurants in the hotel is plus the breakfast for about €75 per day, which is very cheap compared to Dubai. And then we have a gala establishment of the new World Council on the 22nd. So All you need to do is to arrange your ticket to be there, and you don't need to be a supporter of Keshe Foundation. You will understand when you are here how the family has put together. You see people who are devoted to serve humanity and understand the change to come. And in that process, in the 22nd and 21st night, we set up the scene for people to go to understand how they have to elect. And then on 22nd in the morning, we start the process of the council to be set together. And in the afternoon, we celebrate the establishment of the first universal order government, which we set out the laws on which we will govern ourselves as one race. Then we break up, and the government, universal government, will come and take his position in the city of Dubai. The main condition is that not a cent will be spent on arms. That's the condition of the council. All our income will go in supporting the Keshe Foundation, estimated by some of the internal structure of the American security services to assess how powerful we become. Keshe Foundation, in a visible, invisible financially in 2017, is assessed to be 200 billion value turnover, which has become one of the most powerful economic in the world immediately. People at the moment we see are giving the units free. They go to the markets and give them pens. They ask people, are you in pain? You can take a pen. You relieve your pain. We opened the first health center officially in Philippines this Saturday.
Nice.
Or this Sunday. On Tuesday, you can actually start going there from anywhere in the world. You've got a cancer, you can queue up. They test, and if they can help you, we develop the technology to reverse cancer. Anything you have. And then we see today, this week, in Austria, a new team is putting it, machines together for it. And it's all free. You can have it free. If you can pay for it, you pay for it. If you can't pay for it, it's provided by the Keshe Foundation freely around the world. So we emphasize on not a barter business, on giving freely and not expecting. And in time when you're needed, you're given. And this is the way it's in space. We teach you how to make food without dependence. You don't need to go hungry. We received yesterday a message from one of the islands, which they were in trouble. And what it was said very interestingly, I'm living off the Magrav cup.
Mm.
There is no food. The gentleman had no food.
Mm.
We have taught to build a cup that it gives you everything you need to survive on. You don't feel hungry. This is something that has been with the foundation supporters for nearly a year. I taught them how to do it. And now we see it. A man in disaster has gone back into his essence, and it's he's living off it, just the water, which carries all the energy he needs. The position now is with the health section, which now we're promoting heavily. And people are coming out new ways. Now we submitted medical, what they call the pens you've seen, we call the pen, to scientists in 3 different countries. In US, a Nobel Prize winner, he is testing it.
Mm.
A very well-known scientist in Dubai, a doctor, he start testing it. And a very well-known scientist in France start using these pens, and to see how we can eradicate diabetics and addiction. We're just drinking water, you overcome addiction, and your diabetic more or less goes to balance. This is what we've done for 15 years. And
Yes.
what I've seen, one of the reasons the King of Belgium came to see me, and in a way begging for his life more than anything else, but tried keeping his face up. He wanted technology to stay that the present situation stays in power. And when we did not lean on his way, he got us killed, tried to kill, poisoned us, and everything else. But now everybody else has it. The systems are free. The systems are a space technology, spaceship program. So you learn it, you can make your electricity bill zero. A lot of people are doing it. And so the conference is for bringing humanity to become one race again. We've seen a black man from Africa that stood next to a white man from the United States in our teaching classes and taught live how to make a system that you become energy independent. The man is what I call, used to be a barber in London, who's become one of the top scientists in plasma technology. Now he's teaching the whole of Africa.
Awesome.
And the lady now is a teacher in the Keshe Foundation. She teaches in the institute, and they work hand to hand.
Nice.
Literally, the way it is, we see the Jewish community who's working with us with different colors and races, and the Chinese come and teach every week. Whatever they learn, they are there to teach on the international teaching. So we already have become one family. We already become one race, and we are trying to change the position in a way to run one government for the whole understanding of there is no need to kill because now we have whatever we want. We are here to serve, and the Keshe Foundation resources goes in that way. We totally go out, not a cent. We will negotiate in the coming months with governments in how we pay taxes, how our supporters will pay taxes. Governments have to show to the council the money where it's gone to. We don't allow more than 20% taxation around the world for any local authorities or government. You can be the king, we have no objection. We need somebody to lead people, or people can go to say what the problem is. But world taxes cannot be more than 20%. Because if you cut the military cost, if you cut the briberies paid to set up these military structures, you
get rid of all of it.
You get rid of 20%. So only need 20%. And we've seen in different countries, when you bring the taxes to 20%, everybody works. Because 20% is okay. I have a road, I have a school, it's paid for, everything is done. People are happy to give 1/5 of their work. They're not happy to give 70% of their money they earn. So they start creating black money. 20% is a perfect balance. And if you cannot pay 20%, you still don't pay. We leave it to you to be correct. Keshe Foundation employs large number of people around the world, and we pay them the best salaries can be paid for the work they do at the highest level. And we tell them, we pay you the full amount. It's for you to negotiate with your government in what taxes you have to pay. So one of the first jobs of the Keshe Foundation Council, what I call the Universal Council, is to bring the peace to humanity. And the first step is fixing the taxation at 20%. We don't have military hardware to purchase anymore.
Right.
Why should we do that? And when you bring taxation to 20%, the whole structure universally starts moving. People don't work because why should I work and get nothing, or pay 70% of it to government and I hide the money? Where at 20% people invest. And because we leave it to the understanding of the man, if you steal once, you've got to pay 3 times more. Nobody wants to be in that position. So people understand they're responsible for their own conducts in the society as universal society. We see what we see now with the Keshe. People are going to places, giving time, teaching time, to teach, to bring this on. So in the coming weeks, we will announce the 20% tax bracket negotiating with all the governments. So when you say, I'm a member of the Keshe Foundation, we negotiate with your government for taxation. If they do not like it, unfortunately, we can move you somewhere else with a better life. So what we've done now, what we see is happening, it's very simple. I explained in the teaching last week. For example, we are paying €2,500 to the standard people who've been with the foundation in a developing country, in Africa, in South America, in China, and in India. If you are one of the sections part of the Keshe Foundation, the minimum wage is €2,500. This is about €30,000 per year. In the United States, 30,000 is too expensive to live with. You have a problem. And if you have to pay taxes. In Africa, 2,500, you can live with the comforts of life can bring. So what we're suggesting to our people, move to African nation, move to the third world. You're still doing the same thing, We live a very comfortable life, and we have changed the structure. Up to now, people left Africa to come to Europe to have a life. Now, the ones in the wealthy nations move to the in the world unwealthy nations to share and bring their wealth there, and at the same time live with. We have started a reversal procedure, and we've seen two of our African supporters have moved back to Africa. And in there, as one of them wrote, I've become the richest man in the village with the first wage payment.
Yes.
But he is putting all his wages to pay others to do the same. They're going, we have about 200 people in Nigeria who's supported by this one man. He's going out and teaching people how not to die of malaria. They teach them how to have a light, how to grow, harvest like 3-4 times more.
Right.
It's a simple process. And now the structure is working for itself. We take in shape, and now we deliver. The first job, delivery of taxation. If we bring the taxation down, we force the government. There is not money for military. There is a money for a police force. There is a big difference. We have no borders. How come we have no military across borders of 27, 29 nations in EU? How come you have no military forces in 50 states in America? You're each as big as a country. So why can't be the rest of the world? If there is no need in 29, if there is no need in 50, there is no need worldwide. So governments have to show us, why do we need a military? We need a police force. Police force is different than the military. Police force is keep order, because we are human race, we get excited, we do funny things. But we don't need a taxation police officers armed with machine guns to collect taxes from the people who actually are doing it. If you go to Italy, we lived in Italy for 3 years. In Italy, the taxation officers, they call them financial officers, are worse than the, God knows, armed than any militia I've seen. Whenever the government has a problem with the reinforcement of law, they bring them in. They got the machine guns, they have everything. They come in with a full tank on the street. They're finance of police finance, they call them. So why do we need military finance? But with the police, we need to keep a structure of the order. And in time, we will finish with the police as well, because when people are happy, they all have the same. You don't need to control them. We have our own, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things we will announce, and I mean, you're the first one I disclose in the interviews I give this week and next week, the World Council job is to dictate the condition of the man need according to his will, that we don't want to fight. We had enough of fighting. We don't. If we don't have militaries, we don't need to fight. Now we have everything we need. We don't need to have armies. And if there is no difference between the black and the white and Christian and the Jew and the Muslim and everything else, why do we need to create fight to show who is better? I have asked for all the Ayatollahs and the Pope to step down, because they have caused nothing but mayhem. And the money they stole from people in the name of God has to go back to the people who gave to them to bring peace. So first thing we do is establishment of 20% taxation. Has to be. Now, we allow people 20%, but people to pay it. You don't need to go take money to pay. If you say, I don't have money, but I can do 10 hours of teaching, 20 hours of teaching, to do to school, or I'm prepared to do such and such a thing, you bring the old from the house. You don't need to pension an old man to stay in the home to die. He goes, I said, okay, I'm prepared to pay taxes. You're giving me food. I work 10 hours a week. I go and put the shops. I teach. I look after the children. I go to the library and sit down and tell a story to children to come and understand. I teach a plasma technology, whatever. So our first step in the opening of the council is setting a standard of 20% taxation worldwide. We negotiate with government. And if government does not say, I don't like, we move people. We pay people to move. We encourage people. We open the doors of the Keshe Foundation supports around the world, that we deprive governments from their income. So there is no one to have, there is nothing. We pay tools of peace like the pen pads and pen pens to the soldiers against their gun. We give you this pen, hand over your gun to your government. Say, I'm not prepared, I have everything I want. We teach soldiers how to protect themselves, how to clothe themselves, how to produce whatever they need. We finished with the technology against peace. And this is one thing which a lot of world governments don't like to see. We lead by example. I live a most luxurious life because to me, as somebody who sits in this position, needs to be for people to see but we sit amongst the people. One of the biggest problem now in Dubai for the government and the other officials is we sit so commonly right amongst people where you can stay in palaces and we can stay in huge houses and guard ourselves that people don't see us. I live so commonly amongst people that the people who know us are puzzled how we live so openly. Because we have to be all equal. We push it that way. We enforce it. But from the 22nd of April, world governments have to deal with Keshe Foundation. They have no choice. We tell people, no, it's just one thing we have. We have the technology. If we have to, we pay the taxes for our workers. If I pay taxes, I want a discount. My discount comes as what you have. What is your expenses? I pay you enough to have a comfortable life for the workers who work in the government, but we pay 20% taxes, no more. So the conference 21st has got to be supported as many people as possible. Come in and put your place and attend it worldwide, because you don't know, you could be member of the council. And then we'll see where we go. We have the second condition after the 20% taxation is a full total disarmament. Elections of the member of governments by people, not by vote, but by devotion. This is the other section, because now we're seeing the mess in America. Mrs. Hillary Clinton is trying to become the first woman president. I would not vote for her, not a single cent, because I've seen the other side of her. She's a criminal. She signed my arrest 11 days in Toronto airport. She signed for my arrest because the Jewish lobby pushed her. And that time, Canadian Prime Minister, being part of the international Jewish lobby, they kept me every day. They told me, we kill you. You're going to be executed. If you say anything, anybody find out you are here. So I've seen the true face of Mrs. Hillary Clinton. She does not deserve to stand in the White House. And the people who understand the Keshe Foundation will show you. She was the Foreign Secretary of the United States, and Americans planned my arrest and incarceration for 11 days on a flight in an international arena, in an international airport, in transit. And they could carry it out because they thought in power. Now we answer, Mrs. Hillary Clinton, you do not deserve to stand and take the seat of the head of the nation. You are the biggest terrorist we've seen. When you can sign for a scientist to be arrested and be told every day you're going to be executed. So terrorism is part of your structure. It doesn't matter how you color and paint yourself. The Americans, if you understand the way she operates, in a full support of the what I call different lobbies which suits them, I don't see she deserves to be in that position. And we said, if she comes from 21st of from June, we interfere directly with the election of the next president of the United States. And our stand is very simple. The candidate who stands for 20% taxation, candidate who stands for peace, total disarmament, we support. And we become a force in American elections. We are very clear about it. Mrs. Hillary Clinton cannot suddenly change course. 11 days, every day you wake up, they tell you they're going to kill you, they're going to put a bullet in your head by the instruction of Mrs. Hillary Clinton and the Prime Minister of Canada, because they plan my travel to capture me in the way. So I don't see Hillary Clinton as anyone to deserve to stand in the office of a president who now allows the murder of other scientists. So she's out of the game, and we will come very forward with it. We announce our position in respect to other people in the standing. So the next American presidential, in time, doesn't matter if they get elected by Democrats or the liberals or conservative, either side, has to stand on a platform of peace. How much American forces will pull out and do. Let me explain to you something very moral. Your American forces being around the world killing a lot on the name of the peace banner. Your nation is paying for the cry of the children who they killed their father and the mothers they lost the children. The disasters which embrace the American nation through the soldiers. Why do you think your soldiers come with all sorts of diseases back?
Yeah.
They pay back for the murders they've done in the countries, and they think they stood right.
Yeah.
So you will pay for it heavily. The American military have committed huge crimes that people are paying back in their houses with their wives and their children with the disease we've seen. Why should that happen to a man? The sufferer is the one who got killed with his children suffering, and the sufferer is the children who killed with the force of the having something to eat that he could feed his children. Is there a need for an army?
No.
So we see the reason. We see if the American public understands that there is no need for all these wars financed, bring the people back in home, and or keep them outside, but let them serve humanity.
Yes.
The problem. So we enter the political arena of the structure of the world, not as what I call government by government, but we lay international law. And within the international, we will see people will move. We create sanctions, or what they call sections of areas where people are happy to pay 20% taxation. City of Dubai can accommodate millions, zero taxation, but the government, through correct conduct, is covering all expenses. That's why we moved to Dubai. In Dubai, taxation is zero, but you pay correct. The labor force is fully controlled. There is no slavery. There is enough. There is a conduct. It's getting better. And why? Why one country can run that way? How come the whole Europe can live in peace without any army, but all the arms which is used in all the companies around the world, 70%, 80% of the hardware is manufactured in Europe? How come they produce all these factories producing these tools of armor killing? The families have to pay for it. For every man killed in Middle East or whatever, an Italian family which built that gun will pay. Why do we see so much suffering in the West? Because it's the payback time. And people, if they understand it, they won't even touch a gun. And this is the job of the Keshe Foundation to bring it through. So we emphasize on 20% taxation, and we show people where to go, and we finance people where to go. We empty the countries from nationals in a very good way, not the opposition, but you don't have, because they still pay to your country, but what's the kingship when you don't have any subjects? And this is the problem. This is the replication what's going to happen to us when we go to space. When we go to space, a farmer in Africa, a farmer in Italy is not interested what happens in space, but the others are. And mainly the educated will go. So the planet Earth is going to be void of people who can look after the others. We've seen this in Japan. There is not enough young to look after the old. And Japan is facing crisis. Well, in fact, 80% of the old are fit enough to look after the others. But the world now, with the space technology we open to space, everybody will go to space. It's like the new America. Everybody left to go to the new world. Now the scientists, the teachers, and the rest will go. The job of the new Universal Council is to bring into tension and control by people's wish to keep the scientists and the people to look after what is on this planet. This is part of the work. So we decide internationally as one team, do we need, how many of us need to go into space, that we don't empty the central backbone of the forces here. We are facing crisis in America with the new earthquakes and everything else coming. I announced this 3 weeks ago. I announced this months ago, last year, and 5 years ago. And every time I have predicted a disaster, it has happened. So we predict a huge disaster in the United States in the coming days and weeks and months. We've seen at the beginning of it. Even today, Fox has released a huge information about the possibility of the huge earthquake. They put the wave at 100 feet. I have released a memo to my people in one of my chats. We see the waves up to 600, 300 feet, 1 kilometer high waves will hit the coast of the United States. I have informed the Keshe Foundation supporters to move into the central districts, empty Los Angeles, LA will not be there. We estimated 20 million only in the LA area, loss of life. We estimate 20 million losses in Mexican and Mexican Gulf. The same in other parts. So if you go into my teaching, and it's all scientific, it's not just we see how volcanic eruptions are coming, how earthquakes coming, is ready to move. When you have 10 million, 20 million dead in your country, how can you finance wars and the bankrupt accounts in other part of the world? So it's no good. Let's do it before it comes. I have a very clear cut. I promise you one thing. By the time you broadcast this, the White House has listened fully to it, how they're going to react. Because they listen to most of the points I put out. We get a direct feedback from the White House in one form or another. So why not to stop all the wars, bring the soldiers back, ready, start building camps for the people who come back, they have a home to live in. Not to destroy other people's home for the benefit of the British government or Vatican or the Jewish lobby or the Islamic lobby. They're all in the same pot. They are, doesn't matter, you can't blame Vatican for having the supporters or the Jewish doing the same thing or the Muslims doing the others or the rest. It has become who's got more members in the club. So we start more war, there's less of them, we collect more of. And this has to stop.
It does.
This is what has got to stop. So in so many ways, we set up a new procedure called Peace Against Technology. And because now we're becoming independent, we are not asking no government to pay us any money. We are not a Greenpeace. Greenpeace was paid by the Russians, caused problem in the Europe. Now the Greenpeace is paid by the Europeans, caused problem in Russia. So they changed camp. I know I was part of the group which we could see the influence of Greenpeace on us as a nuclear physicist at a time when it was a West and East division. How everything was financed to cause problem in the others. Keshe Foundation creates its own wealth through the trust of its own people, and our wealth doesn't come in money ways. It comes in you go to Holland every Thursday. Keshe Foundation supporters go to the market and get these pens for releasing people's pain on the streets freely to the people. They show them how it works and give it to them. This week, we announced the first time ever women who love to have a child, they can't have a child, and they go through all these test tube things and everything. You can spend less than 50 cents and change the course of your own womb, have a child, without going through all this. Even the men who have a short sperm counts. Listen to the Keshe Foundation teaching up Tuesday, the international teaching, and Thursday. The first Keshe Foundation, what I call a space child, will be born in Africa in 9 months' time. I explained to our supporters how to do it. They did exactly what I said. And in 2 months, a woman who was wishing to have a child for years now has a child. She's pregnant. Cool. And the biggest problem is not only having a child, she's become so sexually active that the husband is complaining for the first time. I want to do something to stop this because now she wants to give life. She's full of life. Sexual behavior is the behavior of being ready to give life. Why are we so active in our young age? Because we want to reproduce to guarantee the survival of the race. So now, if you are a listener or you know anybody who's been listening and they want a child, they've been their biggest wish to have, and they've done everything to have children or a child, and they have to go to test tubes and all sorts, very simple. Go to Keshe Foundation, learn how you make a small liquid, you put it on a tissue, you put it in the front and back of your womb, and or like a tube on around your waist. Let's say in 2 months' time, who's mama? You don't need to suffer because we bring balance in every order scientifically, not by wishes or whatever. So we go and we interfere directly with the world peace, nothing else. So the start of the World Council announcement is we pay 20% taxes to US government. You have a problem, you can't leave, close the armies. How come we did that between the East and West? There were millions and millions of soldiers across lines between East and West in Europe. Where are the borders now? Where did all these soldiers go? What happened with all the hardware, which was military? All the hardware was sold in other countries to start war, to get finances for the militaries you have. There are no regular soldiers anywhere in Europe, more or less now. Why can't be the rest of the world? Why do we need borders to have soldiers? Now we become one race. We are one nation. One nation doesn't have different sections of armies. No, this is what the truth is. So we, one of the first job of the council is we announce safe conditions where the governments are prepared to negotiate with us at 20% taxation. We announce we work, collaborate over a 6 month, 12 months time, that all the military factories become producing things for the space technology, new medical systems through the space, that people don't go out of the job, but there is an alternative. And we scientifically, we put all the money into one direction. We don't need to put others against each other. This is the game that the British have played for years, putting people against each other to make money. So now we have seen one of the royal families in a tentative way approaching the Keshe Foundation. And true, he is in line to become a king if happens.
Mr. Keshe, you know what? I'm going to jump in because I know you guys have things you need to do, and we've been on for an hour and a half. I want to just thank you so much for allowing me this forum to hold the field for you to share your vision. You're well-spoken. I'm so grateful for the science that you've brought forward and the millions around the world that are now gathering around this science and putting it into practice. I've been in many of your teaching workshops, and I can affirm everything you've said, that I've seen those results, I've seen those things in action. And as a spokesperson for world peace, and that the Keshe Foundation can step forward to have a world conference that people can attend, which is coming up this April 21st and 22nd. And then the opportunity to put together a global council. It's time for this change. It is time for this change on planet Earth. And many are ready. And just the way to negotiate it, I think, has been beyond the average person's mind. But together, we can do this. And thank you so much for your leadership in it, for the wisdom, for the stand that you've taken, for the willingness. I know many people now are following this work, and we are choosing to live different kinds of lives, myself included, but I know millions around the planet now are stepping out of that old system of usury and wanting to really serve the future of humanity. So here we are together. I want to just thank you so much and encourage people to go to the website of the Keshe Foundation. There will be links under this video. There will be links on the blog post that I post this on. I'm sure this will be passed around and listened to by many people. It's a nice, quiet news feed, not as big as, the big television feeds. So quietly, we should be able to get this message out to more people. Please pass this on to your friends. Get them to sit down and listen to Mr. Keshe stating his views and these purposes of the Keshe Foundation, because together we have the capability of really stepping into a new kind of future for humanity that's based in peace and plenty for all. So anything else you'd like to say as a last few words? It's just been really a treat to get to sit and listen to you just share the vision.
You have to understand, we've been blocked by the world media because of our stand in bringing peace. It doesn't fit into their structure.
Right.
So the only way left is for us not to be a radical movement, but to be a correct group and society. Now that we have, and we can teach each other to be independent of governments. The biggest problem now is we produce systems which use no energy. You can now, in last Thursday, we showed even how to produce a self-generating system. It's a new fuel. It's not something that you steal. We had the gas, we had the oil, we had the wood, we had the nuclear. Now we have plasma technology. So we're introducing new energy source, which is in the kitchen of every man and woman in their house. You don't need to go and buy it. You just need to learn how to harvest it, how to bring it out, how to control it. And most of the housewives are becoming the best nuclear physicists today of the plasma technology. You see them, they'll come into the meeting. So now you have that freedom to say, I have the energy I want, I can produce food, drink the water the way we is trained in our teachings, and see if you go hungry every 4 or 6 hours, like you eat food every 4 hours. It shouldn't be strange that you drink another cup of water and you don't feel hungry anymore because you receive all everything you need. And then you have your energy, you have a pain, you have a cancer, you don't have a child, follow the teaching, build your own system at home. You can't build it, you can buy it, that we give more to the others. And then we say, okay, we are a structure ourselves. We have everything we have. We don't need to steal, we don't need to go across the lines, and I give freely. And this way we change the course. And this way we set the new order. We are not a talking box. We are a place where through new fuel, to new energy, we bring new life to humanity. And with it, we open the space. Let me explain to you, a lot of people say, how can you work? How can you go into space with this technology? Because in our system, we can create both gravity and magnetic field. We create positioning in respect to another gravitational magnetic field. We don't burn fuel. Earth has a gravitational magnetic field, Sun has a gravitational. When these four field forces find balance is where the Earth is positioned. So now with our system, we can control it so we can find our position anywhere in the universe. This is how you fly. This is how the new space technology is. With it, in a very simple way, I said to you in a very disclosed way, I open another insight into it. We said we give you a space where you don't need to pay taxes. A space is where we give you, where there are no taxes, no governments. It's for us to build that space in a space. We open a channel into the universal community where there are no taxation. You can't go to no one, and you are free. So it's a privilege for the government to have us as a citizen of the world, and a burden for us not to be on the universal community. So I open the door in a very simple way. We don't take people to America to hide them or things. We rapidly open the space that the governments have no citizens to govern because they choose to be in the space. So we find out kingships, presidential ships will be in the history books read. Man, one day had somebody who thought he's better than the other one. And by killing, he enforced his position. Man thought he's going to be the head of a nation by killing and bribing and all sorts of the games. These names, I promise, it becomes a words in the history books because we're all equal, we'll be equal. And if the governments don't like it, now we have a space to go to. Goodbye, sir. You can be a king of your own kingdom. Or as I said to the king of Belgium, if you're so hungry to kill me, I'll give you a solar system. I'll give you a galaxy to be king of where you want to go to. So it's very simple. We move them to where they're happy. We don't destroy them. Or we make Earth a peaceful planet. We have the knowledge, we have the will, and we have the know-how to change it either we want. And the supporters of the Keshe Foundations will not be the member of the councils only. Anybody who attends stands in their own judgment to be a member. So if you've been an activist and you really meant what you wanted to do to bring peace to humanity, attend it. And then stand your own ground. We have 3,000 seat facility. And if we expand beyond limitation, we can go to a 50,000 stadium. People have to come to choose. More or less all the hotels in Dubai are ready to respond. Most of them who know, they're ready to make facilities at the rates that people can come to choose. We've chosen Dubai as a city of peace. We have chosen Dubai as a seat of the World Council, Universal Council. And we have chosen Dubai as a city of a spaceship program. We will launch from this city the first spaceship. And it's not a matter of years. We are talking about weeks. Because if you're not aware, a lot of development has been done. We are ready to go, but I teach slow enough that I catch enough people to it that it cannot be stopped. So come to Dubai. And if you are pure in heart and your soul, you think you can bring change to humanity, you never know till the last second. If your soul decides to take and is being chosen by the other souls to be a member of the council, there are no elections. We'll explain when you are there. So 21st, 22nd is the change point. 21st of April is one of the most important points. 2016 has been promised in the what I call all the holy books to be the changing point for humanity.
Nice.
We see it in Kabbalah. The Jewish state is doing everything to change that 2016. Nobody comes at this day, but they know it's the end.
Wow.
In holy writings, 2016 is known because it's 9216, which is the end, and it fulfills the Kabbalah's promise. So this is the change.
April 21st, it's easy to remember because it's like 21st Century Superhuman. So I want to thank you again so much. And I'm kind of starting to think about how can I get to Dubai. I'm sure that there will be information at the Keshe Foundation website. Is that correct?
Keshe Foundation, spelled Keshe.
Thank you.
Foundation.org. You can go to spaceshipinstitute.org. You can go to KFSSI, the art teaching arm of the foundation.org. You go to the shop and the tickets are put in there. On the front of the Keshe Foundation, if you look, there's a revolving banner. It tells you Dubai conference. And you can book a ticket, your visa and your air flight is yours. We have organized the most beautiful scene in the world for the peace to take place.
Awesome. That's fantastic. So I'll get all those links and put them under this video too on YouTube and on the blog post that it goes on. I want to thank Naturally Better TV for hosting these shows, and all of my listening audience out there. Much love to all of you. Many blessings, and may we be bringing peace to planet Earth and comfort and good things to all of our lives and the lives of everyone on the planet.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Adios. Ciao.
We are people listening from every corner of this planet. No knowledge has been dispersed so beautifully, so balanced across the planet of this planet ever, maybe in the universe. You have the full potential of achieving everything in the universe. There is no need and there is no reason for man not to achieve. So, wherever you are, the way I taught you to make the coils double coil inside, you have continuous equal gravitational magnetic field, and if you put CO2 on it, and you put zinc on it, you have connected the emotion of the man to it on a stable condition, and you'll find out you become a very peaceful man. Here, instead of having galaxies and universes and creating connection magnetically, we have used the matter state gravitational magnetic field strength to dominate and dictate the shape of the plasma. The nanotechnology, the nanomaterial which you have collectively developed in different ways, by caustic, by electric currents, by whatever, fire or whatever, has that advantage that the matter, the nano and the plasma is all the same. So connection is very solid, it's very strong. The power of the plasma technology, the way we have thought, is beyond imagination of the man. Now you can create and control the plasma, which is the mother of the creation of the universe. You are given the seed of the essence of the creation. The foundation does not belong to no one and is not made of one anymore. You are developing it, you are structuring it, and from today will be still the same. We'll still develop the technology in different names, in different colors, in different nationalities which they do not exist. It is beautiful when we see the Christian, the Muslims, the Jews, and every other belief are working together to build up systems. We have already become one faith. We already have become one nation, and we already become one planet. You got to remember one thing. Dates is irrelevant. Today is the last day of the Christian calendar, or tomorrow is the beginning of another. One day is connected to another. We don't stop. We are working around the clock. The Keshe Foundation team is working irrespective of time, position, religion, country. And now we achieve what we set out for.